Welcome to another one of our episodes, Kiddy Talk. Now, today when we went out and asked the kids, we asked them if they knew any of the 10 Commandments. Let's go and see how many of us actually knew some of the 10 Commandments.
Can you tell me one of the 10 Commandments?
Only have one God. Do not lie.
Can you tell me one of the 10 Commandments?
Don't fight, don't steal.
Can you tell me one of the 10 Commandments?
Sure. Obey your mother and father.
Can you tell me one of the 10 Commandments?
Don't lie to anyone in your family or friends.
Can you tell me one of the 10 Commandments? Can you guess?
No stealing.
Can you tell me one of the 10 Commandments?
Obey your mother and father.
Can you tell me one of the 10 Commandments?
You should obey your mother and father.
Can you tell me one of the 10 Commandments?
To listen to your parents.
Can you tell me one of the 10 Commandments? You can take a guess. Can you name one of the 10 Commandments?
Not to lie.
Can you tell me one of the 10 Commandments?
Obey your mother and father.
Can you name one of the 10 Commandments?
Do not steal.
Can you tell me one of the 10 Commandments?
Huh?
Can you tell me one of the 10 Commandments?
I don't know.
Can you tell me one of the 10 Commandments?
Love your neighbor as yourself.
So those were some pretty great answers that the kids had. And actually, I was impressed. A lot of kids knew at least one of the 10 Commandments. Now, what are the 10 Commandments exactly? The 10 Commandments were actually given to us by God. They were given to us so that we could learn how to get closer to God and to stay away from sin. When we stay away from sin, we're able to get to know God better, and we're able to love other people and treat them well. The 10 Commandments were actually given to Moses when he was on the mountain praying. When Moses went up on the mountain, he actually prayed and prayed and prayed for 40 days and 40 nights. And finally, God gave him the commandments on 2 tablets of stone, and they're said to have been written by God's hand himself. So what do those 10 Commandments say? The first commandment actually says that we should have no other God before our God. What does that actually mean? That means we should never put anything before us, before God. Does that make sense? So what we want to do is to always have God be the main priority and the number one thing that we care about. The second commandment says that we should have no graven images or worship anything or anyone else. What does that mean? That means that we should have no one else or anything else that's more important to us than God, or that we make it, as something that we worship or love so much that that God is not as important as it is. So when it says you should have no other images before me, that means we worship God and God alone, and we don't make anything else more important to us than God. Now, for the third commandment, that one says that we should not use the Lord's name in vain. You might ask, what does the Lord's name in vain mean? Well, a lot of times nowadays, people will go around and they will talk about God or say the name of God here and there without having any purpose or meaning, and they're not even talking about God when they say it. So what we have to be careful of, we only say God's name when we are talking about him or worshiping him. We have to know and respect the name of God and know how holy He is. The fourth commandment is that we should remember the Sabbath day and always keep it holy. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, God created 7 days in the week. And one of those days, He said that we should always set aside that day so that we can rest our minds, our bodies, and be fed spiritually. In the Old Testament, that day was the seventh day of the week, which was Saturday. But now we celebrate the Sabbath on Sunday because of the resurrection of the Lord Jesus Christ. So now in the New Testament, we celebrate on Sunday the Sabbath day, and we keep it holy by coming to church and learning things and being spiritually minded. Now, the fifth commandment, which is what actually most of the children remembered the most, it says to honor your father and mother so that your days may be long on earth. What that means is that we have to respect our parents and love them and honor them and obey them when they ask us to do things. This is the only commandment out of all the 10 commandments that came with a promise. It says that when we obey our parents and we honor them, our days will be long on earth. So I know that a lot of you guys knew that right away, but always make sure that you keep it. The sixth commandment says that we shall not murder. Now, that might seem like it's very simple. Sure, we should never kill anyone. But also we have to remember that we should never even hurt anyone, and we should try to be gentle and peaceful with all people. The seventh commandment is that you shall not commit adultery. That means that we should always be faithful to our wife or our husband and always be faithful in our dealings. The eighth commandment is you shall not steal. So with stealing, we always have to make sure that we don't take anything that does not belong to us. Just because someone has something that we want, it doesn't mean that we could take it. We should never even take something from a store just because no one is looking. We have to make sure that we're honest in everything. The ninth commandment is that we shall not bear false witness against our neighbor. Now, bearing false witness, I know some of the kids said it in a different way, which is basically we should not lie. That means we should never say anything that's not truthful, and also to make sure that we don't say anything bad about anyone else so that we can get them in trouble. We have to be careful to be honest and truthful. And the 10th and the final commandment is that we should not covet our neighbor's things. Coveting means that we should never want anything that we don't have. When you look at someone else and you're jealous because they have something you don't have, that's what coveting is. What we want to do is that we want to be happy with what we have and content and be glad that we have things and be thankful for them. Now, I hope that you learned something new on today's episodes of Kiddy Talk and that you keep the 10 commandments so that you can grow in knowledge and in wisdom. Thank you very much for this time with Kiddy Talk, and we'll see you again in another episode. Have a great day.